So we're now live and recording. Welcome to everybody who's joined us for tonight's webinar. My name's Richard Owen. I am a current trustee for the British Association for Psychological Type and also the treasurer as well. So when you pay your subscriptions and pay for conferences and things, I'm the one that goes through the accounts and does all the number crunching and that kind of thing. I'm also hosting this series of In Conversation with webinars, which this is the first of tonight. And we're going to have one every month, certainly leading up to the conference next year in April. We've got a whole host of different presenters and guests who are going to talk about different aspects of their work in psychological type. But tonight I've got Sarah Perrott. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello, who is our president of the BAPT since the last conference, the last AGM. And also during her presidency, we've got this lovely Zoom facility that you're now watching us on, which we're going to use into the future to provide more services for our members and other people who want to hear a bit about what's going on in the psychological type world. Lots of these kind of webinars and meetings and interesting shows for you to watch. So I'd just like Sarah to say hello a bit and introduce yourself. Tell us about how you're enjoying your presidency with the BAPT.
Yeah, so thank you, Richard, and hi everyone, good evening, and this is really exciting. So we made the decision as on the board, we've been talking about it for a little while, to invest in Zoom. So it's a small investment, it's about sort of 40 quid a month, I think, and we are really keen to make as good use of it as possible. So this is our first sort of foray into that, and we're just really mindful of the fact that we're wanting to provide additional services to the BAPT membership. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be the first person on that in conversation with Richard. So very exciting. And also thrilled that we have got this this sort of technology, and we've got a number of different ideas as to how we can use it. We would simply wanting to kind of get started with it, so hence the in conversation with. So to answer your question, Richard, in terms of what I'm about, what I would like to be about, what I think I'm about, what my kind of focus is, being president of BAPT, is to make what we do, make type as accessible as possible to as many people as possible. I'm passionate about giving the incredible tool that type is to as many people as possible. So, and in particular, I think, as sort of president of the British Association of Psychological Type, as president of that, really keen that we would have newer, younger members coming through. So people who are starting to use type in their careers, maybe, who are starting to use type in their personal lives, who maybe have been introduced to it through a career counsellor at school or university or something. So I'm really keen that we are a resource that is a resource both for current members and also for other people coming through, and hopefully that we would have an increase in membership.
Great, yeah, and I should add to people as well that the British Association for Psychological Type is it's a membership organisation. It's got subscriber members, and it consists of a range of people who are in their professions using psychological type, but also other people who are just very interested in it, have found it useful and want to learn more as well. That's right, isn't it? We've got a range of different members.
Absolutely. And I'm just looking at a question from Susan Nash. So hi, Susan. San Diego. I'm really thrilled that you're here. And Susan's asking, what do you see as the role of a type association in today's web-based world? And that's a really interesting question because and I'm holding the mic up to my mouth just because somebody said my voice is a bit broken up. So any other comments about that, please sort of come through. But I do think that that webinars, that virtual learning platforms like Zoom, and there are numerous others, is the future. I just think increasingly it's what we need to be embracing, what we need to be using, how we need to be kind of moving forward. There is an organisation that I've done some global organisation, huge global organisation that I've done some work with, and they have a leadership program that is a 6-modular leadership program over a period of about 8 months, of which 2 of those modules are face-to-face. So the other 4 are virtual. So, and I think that is just the currency of how people are accessing information, learning, and so on. So I think that we as a type association need to make sure that we are as current as we possibly can be with all of that. Interestingly, and I made mention of this in the in Typeface recently, the President's column. I was chatting with Susan Blair via Skype, who's in New Zealand, and she was making the point that in order for Type to come alive, you need to have personalities in the room. That's how you best kind of understand it. You need to kind of see it, feel it, experience it. And I think there's a lot of truth in that, but I think that we need to be increasingly innovative as to how we can do that virtually for people that we're working with and so on. And I think that nothing, and I do feel this actually quite strongly, is that nothing is ever going to replace face-to-face interaction. I think it's the most powerful way of communicating, but we have to be able to augment that really well with other tools such as this Zoom webinar and so on. And
Thank you. Yeah,
doing it.
I think your voice is breaking up a little bit, but I'm not sure whether mine is as well. That might give us some indication of what's going on if anyone wants to let us know. But I'm interested, Sarah, in your work. You run a business of your own, don't you, called Cresco Consulting? Give us an idea of what you do in your daily work as well.
Yeah, so I run my own business, and that's called Cresco, and I work with other associates and deliver different pieces of work, both to individuals and organisations. So I do career coaching, I do personal development coaching, I do executive coaching on a sort of a one-to-one basis. I do team coaching and work with executive teams. I also do leadership development, management development programs within organisations. I do one-on-one stuff, and I do group work with sort of individuals coming out of an organisation on a leadership program, or, as I say, existing sort of executive teams. And I was going to say I always use Type. I think that's true. I always use Type, so long as I can sell it into the organisation, and largely I think if people are kind of buying me, that's what they're buying. And so I'm just looking at something that's on the screen here. So because I just think it is so powerful. I think Type is such a powerful tool. So I use it all the time. My work.
And what would you say you use it mostly with, or more of the time? What kind of ways do you help people with it?
Yeah, so fairly recently I did some work with a team of consultants out of Bosch, and used Type. So it was a team coaching set of modules with them, which was 4 modules, and we used type as the sort of golden thread throughout. And it was their first introduction to it. I think a number of them had kind of heard of Myers-Briggs or had done the questionnaire. We used an online kind of tool with the team, and it was really powerful and really useful for them as individuals, and also for them to work out how to work best together as a particular group of consultants in this particular area that they're operating in, and very importantly, how to work as effectively as they possibly can with parents, because gosh, sick children. So it was really powerful for them. And I was, you know, as I'm sort of sitting here telling you about it, Richard, I'm thinking, why am I surprised? But there was a little bit of me that's like, actually, it was surprising, but fantastic how powerful it was for them, how much they embraced it. There was one occasion when we were looking at with the functions and communicating styles, and we had various posters in different areas of the room, and we were talking about different ways of communicating and strengths of communicating and different needs that people have and how to address those and so on. And one of the consultants stood in the room looking at these 2 posters and said, that is our problem in our communication with parents. That says it all, and therefore we need to kind of work out how we use that to get better at communicating with parents, because it's an important part of our role. So that was a really exciting aha moment for everyone, actually, in the room.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so you're helping people in many different areas of their lives, and you're seeing the real impacts as well. That's I guess for all of us who use type in our work, that's kind of what really makes it useful, is seeing that actual impacts and seeing people have those moments when they realize what's been going on in their relationships and in their workplace, which makes it interesting that there is, you know, sometimes like negative criticism and articles out there about type, and yet when we working with it and using it properly and seeing the effects that it has for people, it makes it hard. I mean, what have you seen in terms of that? Like, how have people's openness to using psychological type as a model changed or been affected?
Well, interestingly, I was having a coaching session with somebody who's part of an executive team last week, and at our previous session, and I have done team coaching with this executive team and this particular individual, and they said, so we had talked through using type. We had said, right, okay, so what type is this person? And this is your particular type. Okay, so what are the differences here? And from a temperament perspective, one of them was a catalyst and one of them was a rational theorist, and they were just like completely missing one another on every level. So we talked through some strategies. She had some tools to use to specifically think, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do differently, on the basis that the only thing you can ever change in any kind of interaction or relationship is yourself. As much as I might think it's your problem, Richard, if I'm looking for, you know, if I'm wanting something to be different, then I'm the one who needs to make the changes in order for it to be different. And when we were discussing how it had gone, she said we were absolutely at a complete impasse, and this individual had been able to totally turn around that particular relationship on that executive team through the insights of type, and being increasing their personal self-awareness, their personal self-management, and then making really kind of positive choices about different ways of behaving, different approaches that just change the situation, change the deadlock. So that was, again, I was like, yes.
Okay, this is
That's
great.
really cool. That is really cool.
We're having a little bit of trouble hearing your microphone again, Sarah, and I'm wondering whether you might be better to try not using the headset.
I unplug it.
Maybe try this.
Okay, what's that like?
Wow. Okay, that's a totally different world. That's much
Is that better?
Mm-hmm. I believe that has solved the problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
We're on. Yeah, apologies to everybody for having this bit of audio trouble. It's a shame, but this is the first of these webinars. Then it's a learning process, and we'll certainly keep an eye on this in future. So.
Okay. Thank you for feedback, everyone. Sorry about that. It's a bit frustrating.
Much better now, though. So, so we were just talking about your work and some of the impacts you've seen from type. From the experience you've had working with these different groups, is there any tips that you've learned which would be useful to share with people about using type in different settings?
I think, yes, loads. I think one of the kind of real powers of type, that's not grammatical, but one of the most powerful applications of type is moving away from the basic 4 letters. So a lot of people, when they do their training, sort of come aware and they have the basic 4-letter code. And in order for type to be as powerful a tool as it can be, it has to be, to borrow Susan Nash's expression, whole type. So we're talking not just about the sort of 4-letter code, but also about your temperament, your interaction style, John Beebe's 8-function model, the cognitive processes, the whole incredible banquet that there is of type. And I think, certainly for me, when I started going along to the BAPT conferences, for me, that was oh my word, this is type's best kept secret, is all these incredible conferences where there are there's such expertise there, the camaraderie, the chatting with people, I do this, what do you do, what are your, what experiences have you had, etc., etc., etc. All of that is really helpful for developing our use of type. I think we have to move on from the sort of 4-letter code, because that just does not do it any kind of justice at all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good point that there's a lot of development and a lot of authors and a lot of writing about type. And now type is nearly 100 years old. If you think about it, since Jung published Psychological Types, we're nearly 100 years. And it's developed in so many ways. Obviously, the Myers-Briggs assessment and that side of things, was the most well-known. But there was Jungian analysts, there was other psychologists and professionals and people writing about type, and also like an online community of people making videos nowadays and showing their own knowledge from their experience, and there's such a vast wealth of knowledge. So with that in mind, you mentioned the BAPT conference. I'd agree, it's very useful. So can you share a bit about what we might expect at the British Association for Psychological Type conference next year?
Yeah, so that's in April 2018. So it's the 12th, 13th and 14th of April. I think I've got those dates right off the top of my head. And we're titling it Type in the Digital Age, so trending type in the digital age. So there's a lot of potential application that can sort of come from that, and we have the very wonderful Susan Nash, who is the events director for BAPT, who is currently collating papers for people who are looking to present at the conference. And my understanding is that we have got some really interesting papers coming, being sort of suggested. And anyone who is interested, I'm just looking at a question here. Anyone who is interested in presenting a paper, then there is a request for a call for papers on the BAPT website, so please do respond to that too, Susan. I know that, so Type in the Digital Age is, as I've said, there's a lot of potential applications from that. Certainly something that that I'm very interested in personally is building resilience, and how we do that, and we manage our sort of pressure points from a personality perspective, and maintain wellness in this 21st century world, whilst, as we're doing here, embracing the technology and embracing all the good things about it, but not moving that into a kind of negative space or an overload space. So we're very fortunate at BAPT to have our fantastic European cousins who come over and run seminars and so on. And I know that there's a number of them. I know you've got John Luke on and in conversation with you in a couple of months' time, and his experience of type and his focus on type in action is fascinating. So it is super that we are so close to, in particular, the countries in Europe, and to hopefully get be able to harness all the expertise and the learning and the development that's going on there, as well as our friends from the States. So Dario Nardi, Jeff Hart, Sharon Richmond, and from the other side of the world, Susan Blair and the others from OZAP. So our conference, we're very much hoping that our conference next year will be the best one yet. I'm confident it will be.
Yeah, it's exciting, having the theme about this digital world and seeing how things are changing and how that's affecting things as well. It's going to be a great topic. And as you said, having people from all over the world, experts, sharing their wealth of knowledge on lots of different applications and areas to do with type. It just shows just how much there is to the theory and the practice of it. So are you going to put forward a talk? Are you going to present for us?
I am. I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
So I've yet to answer Susan's call for papers, but yes, I am. And around the whole area of resilience, the work that I do and the workshops that I run, I use type, and I use Tony Schwartz's material about managing your energy, not your time. Derek Rogers' material as well. So I try and put together a number of different models, including type, to just give people a lot of different interesting kind of tools and tips for helping themselves to be as effective as they possibly can in our digital age.
That's fantastic. So I also will be putting forward a talk. I should stress as well that when we say call for papers, it's one of these conference speak things, isn't it? That doesn't mean we actually need like a 4,000 word essay with everything, like an academic style paper. It's more of a colloquial term to say that we would like people to submit proposals to give a talk at the conference or a workshop. The workshops can be a bit longer and more interactive, and getting people to do actual practices that will help to show the reality of the theories that we're talking about and get people to learn in practice. And then obviously shorter talks as well, where people can use PowerPoint slides and talk about their own area of expertise. We've certainly got interest here from Jack Aaron as well, who's looking to put forward a talk. So yeah, Jack, if you go to believe we've sent out some emails recently, but if you want, we'll try and forward that on to you again, so you'll have and we'll make Susan aware of your email address so that she can let you know. Yeah, so that's exciting. And other things happening with BAPT, other than these webinars and the conference, are ideas for a new coaching practitioners support group.
Yes, exactly. So we're, as we said at the beginning, this Zoom is a facility for the members, and one of the huge benefits of getting together as type practitioners is sharing knowledge. I was doing this with a group and it was absolutely stunningly brilliant, or I was doing this with a group and oh my word, it was very tricky. And has anyone else had any sort of examples of that or scenarios like that? So the idea is that we're going to have a sort of practitioners top tips or best practice or something that will start. I think we said we'd start it in January, so it will be an hour's, probably evening slot like this, maybe a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock. We need a bit of feedback from people as to sort of timing. And again, people would log in. It would be for a maximum, I think, of 10 delegates, but that would be different in that everybody would be able to kind of put their hand up and make a comment and make a statement or ask a question sort of live, as it were. So, and we're looking at running those certainly on a bi-monthly basis, and if they're very popular, then a monthly basis. So once a month, a kind of best practice. First 10 people who register will get on the webinar.
Yeah,
and then with a different focus. Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of us who work as coaches as well, it's something that we see in coaching organisations such as the Association for Coaching, and I find it personally very useful. I know you have as well, Sarah, as well. Absolutely,
yes. So I'm the association that I'm a member of is Apex, and I have, what's called peer supervision. So in some of that, it's a sort of sharing best practice. So we just need to be clear about what we're going to be doing, but it would be, something that is going to be of interest to people and helpful and draw on different people's expertise. So that we're having that real kind of sharing. And I think, in the first instance, we're wanting it to be for BAPT members, but then I'd love to have maybe a more general one where new type practitioners can join in and just think, oh, wow, how amazing is that? Let's join BAPT and go to a conference. Increase their skill set.
Yeah, it's a really great way because, as practitioners, we're always out there doing our own thing, and it's a nice way to reflect on issues, challenges, questions we're having that arise from our work, and to share that with others in the field who can then give their own suggestions that might help. It's a lovely, supportive, sharing kind of community event.
Absolutely. And I think, and I'm just looking at a comment from Terry in Sydney who's saying it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Yay! How amazing is that? But just to, we are a global type in the digital age. It is a global community, and through things like Zoom and all these other sort of platforms, we can really help one another, work with one another, and be part of that community. I think it's very exciting.
Yeah. So yes, we've got a link to send to you, the call for papers as well. If anyone's interested in that, I'm just going to post that to everybody now so that you've got. If you are interested, there it is. There's the call for papers link. If anyone wants to suggest doing a talk at the 2018 conference in Milton Keynes at Kent's Hill Park.
Yeah.
That's where it is now. It's the first time at the new venue as well. So exciting changes happening here. We're almost out of time, Sarah, but I'm curious. One of the questions I had on my list was about yourself and sort of maybe if you can finish off, give us some idea of like some things that you've learned about yourself and your type and how they play out in your own life during your experience with type.
Okay, so I have preferences for ESFJ, which makes me a guardian stabilizer, get things going. And I have, oh gosh, I've just learnt just such enormous amounts. So I think part of it, the first part of it is kind of embracing that, is getting to know that, is getting to understand that, and then to not be defined by it. So those are my strengths, but also, and that's one of the things that the John Beebe model sort of teaches, is the capacity to access all of the different functions. And there would be some things that I know that I'm not very good at, and other things that I think I'm brilliant at, and other things that I'm sort of okay at or that I play with. And just recognizing that and bringing that into my work. So I do that by trying to work well with other people who are very different to me. I deliberately work with, with different people, because I think that if you're working with a team, that provides a better experience for the team as well. Are we timed out? I think we probably
just
are.
about. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
we have to wrap up, sadly. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to anyone who had issues, as we had issues with the sound at the beginning, but that was thankfully resolved. So thank you, Sarah, for sharing everything that you have tonight with us. It's been really interesting, and hopefully we'll have you back on again at one of these webinars soon to share more ideas. We had a little comment from Australia as well, saying hopefully we're welcome at these webinars. Yes, these webinars for the In Conversation With are open to all, and we do want anyone who's interested in type to come along and listen to these. And please spread the word. You can register for free. We've got, initially there's 100 places per webinar available, and they're going to fill up soon, because today we got just over a third of those filled up, and this is only the first one. So as this word spreads, you want to get in there. The next one, we've actually got a webinar that Susan Nash is running this Monday, actually, on emotional intelligence and resilient leadership. If you go to bapt.org.uk, you can see the events page. That's the place to register for these and find out more about what's going on. I've just tried to do it there, but it didn't make it into a link. But bapt.org.uk, and go along and check out the list of webinars. The next In Conversation With is Jean-Luc Dupont, who's presenting at next year's conference. We've also got Jane Keyes as well, and we've got John Haxton from OPP, and we've got, of course, Dario Nardi, the well-known neuroscientist, as well. So great lineup of people. We've had a fantastic start today with Sarah Perrott, President of the BAPT. So I think that's the end, really.
I think that's it. Okay.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay. Bye, Richard.
Bye.